What's up, YouTube? Bridger Frederick here. Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. This channel is all about living healthy, wealthy, and happy. Post spinal cord injury, I am a T10 paraplegic complete. I can't even wiggle a toe. I mean, I really crushed my spinal cord. I was in a car accident where I got launched through a telephone pole with my back against the ceiling of the vehicles that smashed through the pole. And I mean, my spinal cord injury is obviously not as severe as it can get, but it's a very severe spinal cord injury. But that does not deter me one little bit from believing that I will be able to walk, run, hike, do everything, squat hundreds of pounds, everything. I believe that the convergence of technology, commitment, willpower, and mindset are all going to coalesce into me gaining my ability to feel and walk and do everything. And I think that's very important. And what I'm going to go on to say might be one of the more important aspects of healing a spinal cord injury. And what that is how you spend your time digitally. I know post-injury that a combination of depression and boredom and just not knowing how to spend my time and feeling so limited, I spent a lot more time on the phone watching shows. And also, coupled with that, I was injured in late 2019, and so when I was actually getting released from the hospital from inpatient, or shortly after, about a month after I got released or something like that, it was COVID. It was, full lockdown. I was in Denver, Colorado, and I was trapped inside an 800 square foot apartment with my girlfriend, Kelsey, and we watched a ton of television series and spent a lot of time on computers, phones. And the worst part about that, like acutely, it was a lot of fun. I had been very busy for the 10 years previous to that in actual physical outdoor activity, and I did not spend much time digitally. So it was a lot of fun getting caught up on all the television series, a bunch of movies I'd never seen before. But pretty quickly, discovering TikTok for the first time, and that absolute just black hole for time and attention. And what happened pretty quickly is I became habituated to spending more and more time consuming content, consuming technology, rather than producing on it. And I think for anyone, it's a dangerous and a slippery slope, especially anyone who wants to further themselves and grow and have a happy, healthy, fulfilling life. I think that too much digital consumption is dangerous, spinal cord injury or not. But for people who have a neurological injury or a neurological deficit, be it spinal cord injury or anything else, any head injury, brain-related, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, whatever it is, or long-term chronic debilitating thing like multiple sclerosis, it doesn't matter. If it's neurological related, I think spending time digitally is very dangerous to your healing. I mean, extremely dangerous, because in my opinion, which is obviously not the opinion of a doctor or a health professional, is just from my research and personal experience, I feel like the most powerful thing you can do to heal your body is be completely and totally present, aware of what's going on, and using your mind to consciously rewire your spinal cord, sending your consciousness, your brain, your mind power, whatever's going on inside you, and imagining it, going that energy, that electricity, pushing it down through your spinal cord, down to wherever your level of injury is, and then consciously trying to heal and reconnect and push that energy through. And by nature, if you are on the phone consuming content in whatever form, but I mean especially short form, like dopaminergic satisfaction swiping, like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Dating apps is a huge dopaminergic hit that people just swipe, and that is completely and totally diverting your brain from any healing activity. And I think that it's going to be a huge hindrance for myself and anyone else who intends on really healing their spinal cord if we're spending too much time on the phone just rewiring our dopamine reward system, rewiring everything, because every single time you hop on Instagram, you hop on YouTube, especially, it's dependent, there's a lot of educational stuff. I learned everything from YouTube, and there's so much fantastic content on there, but there's a limit to where it becomes helpful and to where it really starts to hurt you. And that ceiling is a lot lower than I think most people would think, because every single time you do an action or reward an action with that little bit of dopamine that happens when we're swiping through or watching content, you're creating a solid, neural pathway in your brain. Electricity is running around in a certain loop that's rewarding you. It's the nature of habit. It's how it works. And as long as it's on that dopaminergic dopaminergic route of swipe, reward, that energy and that electricity and that thought power, that healing, nutritious fodder for neurological systems, is diverted. It is just in a circle up here, and for as much time of the day as is humanly possible, you need to be pushing that energy down out of your brain, through your spinal cord, and to all of your affected area below that level. And it has to be a conscious, concerted effort when you're exercising, when you're driving, anytime, especially if you're feeling anxiety or fear or lust or jealousy or any of the lower level emotions, then you know that you're probably trapped in some sort of habitual neurological route, because that's where those emotions exist at. A trigger happens, something happens in your life that makes you angry, someone cuts you off on the road, your significant other says something they always say that just grinds your gears. Whatever it is, you're reminded of things that you can't do and your limitations. And what happens is that's the trigger, and somewhere in your deep brain, there's a little switch that flips, and it was triggered originally by an intense experience that caused emotion and pain, and it was probably very justified. I'm not saying that it's not justified or that it's anyone's fault that they're having this happen, but what happened is something in the past some event triggered a strong emotion, and that triggered a neurological event, and that triggered a certain pathway in the brain, which had a cascading effect of different neurological chemicals and neurotransmitters and stuff that were released, producing a strong emotion. And the very beginning, a little dirt path was made in your brain, carved out. And what happens is a trigger that reminds us of that event causes another neurological outburst of energy, and it goes on that pathway and it gets a little bit more trampled. And that happens if it happens enough, until that's a interstate highway, and dink, the smallest trigger, and boom, we're in that cascade of emotion, anxiety, anger, fear, whatever it is. And in those moments when that's happening, you need to arrest that as quickly as possible, and it's going to be hard, really hard at first. Right when that trigger happens, it's going to start down the highway, and you need to throw a spike strip across the highway and crash that car into oblivion and start a new little path that wanders through a positive, creative, exciting part of the brain. And I find the easiest way to start doing that is to just recognize when things are happening. Just be like, you have anxiety, you have anger of any sort. If you're having a negative emotion, anxiety, anger, fear, sadness, whatever it is, you're in the wrong. It's your fault. That should never happen. And you can prevent it from happening forever. I'm not saying it will never happen. We're always going to have our triggers. Things are always going to make us angry, but it's unless someone's physically attacking your family, friends, or a stranger, and you're going to launch into action. Penny. Sorry, my dog has a cone on and she's trying to, Penny, find a little piece of dog food that's behind her water dish. Anyways, unless you're going to launch into action and attack an assailant or stab a tiger to death that is attacking you, or a loved one's died and you're grieving for them, most of these negative emotions just simply don't serve us. And believe me, I was guilty of wasting enormous amounts, years worth of my life added up all together on negative emotions and triggers. People would say things, I would think negative things about people, I would see actions or things happening around me, and it would trigger an emotion in me, and I would waste my life, my creativity, and my soul on that emotional cycle. And the only way to stop that from happening is to shorten the amount of time it takes you. Penny, hey, Penny, go lay down. Go lay down. You're just wandering around. Go lay down. Cone dog. Sorry, little nails were scratching on the floor. Anyways, you have to shorten that amount of time from the time the trigger happens to the time you recognize that you're being triggered and that you're not in control of the situation, you're not in control of your emotions, and you tell yourself, I should never feel fear, I should never feel anxiety, I should never feel lust or jealousy, anger, any of those emotions. You should never feel them. Don't accept them in your life. This is so important. You have to get rid of them if you want to heal your spinal cord, if you want to live an abundant, healthy, wealthy, joy, bliss, and love-filled life. The very first step is recognizing anything that starts anything that starts a negative emotion, and recognizing when we're experiencing it and saying, I caused this, this is my fault. Nothing external can make me feel anything negative other than significant events. And you don't get to just say, decide that something significant is happening. Steadfast rules, real threat to your health or safety, death or injury to a loved one, or something horrible actually happening, almost not very much, a pet dying, a pet being injured. There's so few things that should trigger real deep negative emotion. Pain in your own body, no, that's bullshit. That's just an excuse. You have no right to waste your life being sad about that. You just got to take control of it. And when that's just a trigger, it's just a small, it doesn't have to trigger sadness, anger. It doesn't helplessness. That's a choice. And right when that trigger happens, the pain happens, there's a fork in the road. And if you're feeling sad, helpless every time pain happens, frustrated, that just means that, that right fork is well established and easy to go down. And it's going to be very hard, and it's going to lead you to worse and worse places, if this is something you're struggling with. Whereas that left fork, it's a little tiny trail you can barely see down into the bushes, and it's going to be hard to navigate, and you're going to get lost and turn around and get frustrated and go down the other trail again. But that's letting pain trigger excitement, happiness. And I'm not perfect at this, but there's many a time where the pain I have, I am thankful for it. I'm happy that I get to have something that triggers me to be stronger, that makes me tougher for the next day. something to persevere through that I know I'm going to grow from, that is forging me into the man that I want to become. Struggles are there for a reason. They're there to help you see what you're supposed to do, overcome it, and then help others do the same. I don't know why, but that's just the way I believe it works. And so the bottom line is, you got to start taking that other fork. Every time something makes you feel sad, happy, or sad, if it makes you feel happy, run that way. There's a great book called Supernatural by Joe Dispenza, and inside that book there was a diagram, like I highly recommend reading it. It's got meditations in it that, whether or not you believe the more esoteric side of what he's saying, which I certainly do, it's the meditations help you exponentially. It's one of the things I want to incorporate more into a daily practice. I use the methodology, but I don't actually sit and do the full 45-minute meditations as often as I should. But there was a diagram inside that book, and it showed a whole range of emotions, starting with like lust and jealousy and anger and resentment and all of the negative emotions kind of stacked on top of each other. And then it slowly went up to excitement and happiness and joy and bliss, and gratitude was at the very top. And his hypothesis, and I think they've done quite a bit of actual testing with heart and brain monitoring, but the basic hypothesis is that the lower level emotions, those negative emotions, have a long, slow wavelength, and the higher level emotions, gratitude being the highest, have a fast vibration and intense wavelength. And so the basic premise is that those things are going, those wavelengths are going out into the world and affecting the world around you, affecting the people around you. And we all know that. There's people that you get around and they're like an energy absorber. They just suck the life out of you. Like they just feel, it just feels negative to be around them. And you know, there's other people where as soon as they come around you, the room lights up and you just feel the buzz and the energy and the joy. And that's the premise behind it, is that you're actually producing real measurable wavelengths between the interaction of your heart and your brain. The coherence of that electricity is, you know, I'm probably not doing this very much justice, but it's producing actual emittable energy from your body and affecting the world around you. And you better believe it's affecting the actual neurons inside your body. So if you're feeling gratitude and bliss and excitement, and you're pushing that energy down through your spinal cord, and it's moving at an incredible wavelength at a fast rate, it's going to supercharge and ignite and stimulate all of that damaged neurological tissue at your level of injury and below. And if you have just some slow, terrible wavelength, it's, in my opinion, and obviously this is just my opinion, but I think it's going to go in there and just do nothing, not stimulate at all, not excite it, or even damage it, even hurt it. And looping back around to the phone and the technology, I think spending too much time on your phone is a very, very dangerous way to strengthen the bad fork in the road. I think it's easy to get into negative cycles, especially like I use my phone a lot. I love consuming content on my phone. I'm so grateful to have this supercomputer. Any question I have, any struggle I have, I would be so far behind in my healing journey if I wasn't able to search on YouTube, search on Google, and answer the questions about what's going on with my body, about ways to fix things, about, you know, all the mental health stuff and how to achieve success. And I get to watch people who are my idols and heroes. I get to watch unlimited content of them telling me exactly how to get the life that they have. And, you know, I can take what I want out of that and incorporate it into my life so I can build the life that I want. And the point is, that's still dangerous. It's still a slippery slope. But if you're not curating what you consume, I mean, oh my gosh, it's you're causing so much damage. You're really, really hurting yourself and doing yourself a massive disservice, and you're putting the brakes on healing. If you're not at least curating the content and making sure everything on your Instagram feed, on your TikTok, like it should be positive, it should be exciting, it should be inspirational, it should give you knowledge and actionable steps to do things that are important to you. It should not just be mindless videos, and I love the mindless funny memes and videos and stuff, but I'm beginning to call that out. When I'm on Instagram, if anything gives me a negative juju, negative energy, I just unfollow right there. On YouTube, same thing. I used to watch, I love like really gnarly survival stories, and I like crazy true crime stuff and serial killer stuff, and like just things that there's a fantastic channel called Mr. Ballin who I love that channel. It's all scary stories and just gnarly things that happened. But to be honest, it's a lot of really, really horrible things that, murders and terrible events. And like, I still will watch that, but in super limited quantity. Like I allow myself only like one Mr. Ballin video a month, and he's the only and like once you go down that rabbit hole, it'll start populating your feed and your YouTube feed all sorts of other videos about that kind of stuff, crime videos and survival videos and lost in the woods videos. And so it takes a ton of self-control to limit that. If it's something that you enjoy, because even though I enjoy it, hearing that negative stuff, it creates really, really dangerous thought cycles. And just a different vision of how the world is. It shapes the way I see the world. If I watch too much of that, I'm going to see the world as dangerous and scary and violent and sick and twisted. But if I just choose to ignorantly put that out of my mind, because it might be ignorance, but it's okay. Ignore the bad stuff until you're strong enough to not let it affect you. You have to ignore the bad stuff for years and years and years and years, and build yourself up and build yourself up and build yourself up, and then still maybe only take that in minute amounts. But the point is just curate what's on your feeds, because if you watch negative stuff, if you click on news, if you click on things that make you mad, if you click on things that make you horny, if you just are on there looking at sexual stuff, on hot girls, hot guys, whatever it is, if you're any emotion that you're acting on, sad, mad, whatever, the algorithm's going to keep showing you stuff that makes you sad, mad, angry, horny, whatever. So why wouldn't you tailor your algorithm to show you stuff that makes you happy, blissful, excited, grateful to be alive, inspired, more knowledgeable, smarter, better, more loving, a better partner, a better father, a better mother, a better sister, brother, husband, whatever it is? Like, why wouldn't you curate this amazing supercomputer that we all have in your hands? Why wouldn't you teach it that you want it to make you happy rather than make you sad? You want it to heal you rather than hurt you. And that's a choice. And if you're getting on your phone, you're choosing one or the other. It's either going to heal you, it's going to hurt you. Like, there's not really a lot of middle ground here. If you're choosing stuff that is angering, saddening, frightening, whatever, that's going to neurologically wire your brain that way, and it's going to prevent you from healing, it's going to prevent you from walking again, it's going to prevent you from being happy, getting out of pain, from sleeping, it's going to prevent you from having deep, meaningful, loving, true relationships with others. It's going to prevent you from living out your full potential and realizing your dreams and helping others and finding whatever destiny is out there for you, if that's what you believe. It's going to completely prevent you from realizing your purpose and actualizing as a human, and that is not an exaggeration. That's fact, it's truth. And if you're not respecting these devices and recognizing that that is the power they have over you. They have the power to prevent you from self-actualizing as a human if you misuse them. Then I think really internalizing that will hopefully mean taking massive intentional action to prevent this device from doing that. Don't let the anger, the sadness, the hurt, the lust, the negativity that's out there, don't let weak, hurt, sad people hurt you through this lens that we're looking at all the time. Like, this is like a periscope looking out into the greater world and into everyone's life. So why wouldn't you choose to focus that periscope on someone's life who you want to be like, someone you want to emulate, someone who just ignites a fire of passion and desire and hope into your heart? Why are you going to focus that periscope on all of the terrible stuff happening in the world? I'm not saying we ignore it completely and don't help it, but if you're in a weakened state, if you're sad, mad, hurt, angry, suffering, feel helpless, then you can't focus on that stuff right now. When you build yourself up into the hero that you want to be, yeah, you'll have the energy and the strength to focus on those who are hurting, to give back. But you can't do that when you're in a weakened, lower level state. And it's not your fault that you're there, especially if you're spinal cord injured. But you got to realize, like, people without spinal cord injuries, 98% of all those people, maybe not that much, but most people are living lives of quiet desperation, as Thoreau would say, I believe. And it's so true. Most people, especially now, more and more, the rate of sadness and dissatisfaction and frustration and fear is only going up and up and up and up because people aren't curating this stuff. They are not curating the way that these devices are influencing them. And so whether or not you have a spinal cord injury or other neurological deficit or head injury or whatever it is, or deep trauma, it doesn't matter. Most people, injured or not injured, are really, really suffering and not able to make the choices necessary to alleviate that suffering. And this is just one more handicap to that. It's one more thing that makes it even harder to break out. And maybe you need a full detox from your phone. It's not going to kill you. Like, I've taken years off of my phone, not since being injured. I have deleted all social media a few times and had and YouTube and Netflix and Prime and all the stuff that can be on here, and just not spent as much time on my phone for a couple weeks at a time. I'm probably due for another long technological reset, and believe me, there will be plenty in my life. I didn't have a smartphone I lost my smartphone when I was living in Australia back in 2015 or something. I just didn't get a new phone for months. And when I did get a new phone, I got like a little flip phone that I only used to call people, not even to text, or very rarely to text. I mean, I was literally using T9 in like 2015, 2016. And it was so therapeutic. It was amazing. It doesn't kill you. You get used to it pretty much within a few days. And that doesn't mean get rid of take a break from your smartphone and just sit in front of the TV and watch Netflix. Like, this stuff is dangerous. It's programmed to make you spend as much time as possible on there by rewarding your dopamine. It rewards you. It makes you feel good. But, as anything that is rewarding the dopamine system, you need more and more and more. And it's a vicious cycle. So, coming up on 30 minutes. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it, and would love to hear anything that you think. If you agree, put it down in the comments. Let's start a conversation. This is important. I really hope that if even one person just takes the time to really analyze what's coming in through this device and to change it and to make it, specific to things that make them happy, blissful, excited, filled with love and hope, and gratitude is so important to feel grateful is just, it's so good. When you truly feel grateful all the time, it's pretty impossible to have a bad day. So I hope this finds you exactly where you need it, and please live a healthy, wealthy, and happy life. Hit me up with any questions. You can follow me on Instagram at BridgerLeeFrederick, Facebook at BridgerLeeFrederick. I don't have a TikTok or Snapchat or anything like that. I should probably get with the times and do that, but I don't. So have an amazing day, and I will see you next time. Signing out.